Okay, we got him. We got him. What's good, y'all? What's good?
What's up, buddy?
All right. How's everything, man?
Good. Can you hear me? Yeah. Well, I got my mic hooked up. I don't know if it's coming through because now my
You're good?
sound is coming
Yeah.
from my phone and not my headphones.
Oh, okay, okay. You good? I think you're okay.
Okay.
You're okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, you. That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Where's my damn podcast? Thank you to all the listeners, wherever you are. Um, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to share, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause cause that's what we do here. We like to spread nothing but goodness out into the universe. You know. But anyway, I am your host, the host with the most, Elvin Maglinte. I got a very special guest for y'all. Yeah, yep, he's on the line right now. Um, yeah, we're gonna get into it. Um, yeah, be sure to check out his YouTube channel. He just posted something new, right? Maybe a few few hours ago. Yeah, we might hear about unicorns. You never know. You never know.
Nice.
Dope video, dope video. I like that. And who knows? Maybe hear some about eggplants and carrots. I don't know. This guy is a stand-up comedian. He's the host of Kidder's Corner. I hope that's not a punishment, a timeout situation. But no, it's a game show, y'all. It's a game show. It's very fun, interactive. I've been on the one of the episodes, and I had a lot of fun with it. I hope to like come back one of these days. So yeah, yeah, and shoot, let's get into it.
Yeah, Evan, thanks
Yeah,
for having me, bro.
yeah. On the line with me, joining us today, I got the homie. I got the man, Mr. Chris Kidder.
What's up, Elvin? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Awesome. Yeah. So So you did plug my show. Everyone seems to call it Kidder's Corner. Maybe I should have just called it that. It's Kidder's Comedy Corner.
Oh,
Uh, but
yeah,
no,
my bad.
no, bro. But you know what? It's funny because I did a show in person like 3 weeks ago. It was a show here. Actually, it was in Englewood, California, and my buddy's been on the show 3 times. He knows the show very well. He's a very dear friend of mine, and
Yeah,
he said he called it the same thing, Kidder's Corner, and I was just like, everyone's calling it Kidder's Corner. I just, but we're in season 2. It's too late to go back. If the
right.
show doesn't do well and I have to breathe some life into it in the future, maybe I will just call it Kidder's Corner.
Yeah, you dropped the comedy part, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, man, I had fun on that show. That was my first time being on there.
Yeah, it
Man.
was fun, bro.
Yeah. I was a little bit nervous too at the same time. Like, first question you usually ask your guests, like 30 seconds or less. Tell me about your life, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like what do I say?
Well, that's part. I mean, look, the part of the show. I think when you did it last season, the show was a 2-hour show, and the one of the biggest feedback comments I always got from people was like, I like your show, but it's just a little too long. And
Mm,
so I decided, in season 2, which we just launched last week, we're going to shorten it down to 1 hour.
mm,
So now it's even more imperative that I ask questions like that, and I like putting my guests on the spot. I put you on the
yeah,
spot. I put everyone on the spot. But I
yeah,
like doing that. Like, tell me about most. Because look, I mean, come on, honestly, like most people who've been on my show, they didn't watch my show before they were on my show. So a
hmm,
lot of them have no idea what's coming. And
yeah,
so I do like to do that. When I introduce you, I do my introduction, and then I say, yeah, like tell us your entire life in 30 seconds or less. Go. And people are just like, wait, what?
yeah,
And and it's funny. It's funny to see. Some people really are good at responding to that, and some people kind of
right,
like don't know what to say, because
yeah,
they got to think about, oh wait, what's good,
I
You know?
know. Am I being interrogated here? What's going on? The FBI is gonna be on me?
Yeah, and also people, 'cause, you know, a lot of people don't know, like, should I be funny or do I need to be serious? And
Yeah.
you know, that's I like putting people on the spot because usually that's when you find some of people's funniest shit. You know, I
Yeah.
don't know. Can I swear on here? I don't know if I can swear.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely get into the show a little bit later on, but yeah, man. Let's start from the beginning. Obviously you're a stand-up comedian.
Hmm.
Let's yeah. How did you get started in comedy?
Yeah, it's funny. I wish I could say, you know, when I was 5, I watched Richard Pryor and Robin Williams and Steve Martin. You know, that seems to be a common answer from a lot of comedians
You know
when I
what?
ask them that.
Before you answer that, I know what you're talking about because I don't have the quote unquote storybook start in comedy. You know what I mean? Like,
Right?
yeah, I feel you. Yeah, no one inspired me. No, I just somehow watched some videos and then boom, I got into it. But yeah, no, yeah, no, George Carlin, Eddie,
Yeah.
nothing like that. But yeah, anyway, go ahead, my
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. So I mean, I've just heard all these different like beautiful, you know, coming of age stories from people, and mine is completely opposite. Several years ago, I was having one of my normal pissed off, angry days that I have here in Los Angeles because you know traffic is insane and people here are even more insane and there's a lot of self entitled people here. Anyways, I was at a Starbucks drive through about 6 o'clock in the morning when the line's really long and everyone's pissed off because they haven't had their first cup of Joe yet. You know what I mean? So, so I'm there in
Yeah.
line, bro, and I'm in this parking lot because it's a drive through and there's a long line. I mean, there's probably 20 cars in front of me, and the way you have to pull into the actual physical drive through part where your car is now stuck between two lines of cement on your left and your right.
Hmm.
I'm in the parking lot part waiting to kind of turn into that section, and there's like 4 or 5 cars behind me, and it's 6:30 in the morning. The parking lot's pretty empty, and this lady, the car in front of me pulls forward, and I leave a little gap because just in case someone decides to pull in because from either end of the parking lot and needs to pass through. If I just pull
Hmm.
forward like an asshole, then I block the entire parking lot. If someone pulls in, they can't get through, and then they're honking at me, and I'm getting pissed off. Everyone's getting pissed off. So I do the courteous thing, which I've learned don't do. Don't be courteous. I leave a
Yeah.
gap, and the lady behind me, who's been behind me for well over 5 minutes, decides, you know what, I'm going to pull around this guy and just inch my way into that gap. So
Ooh, she's cutting in
she was cutting
line.
line, which I learned in like kindergarten. You don't do right as a human being. We
Yeah.
don't cut lines. And so you know she's there in her daddy's Mercedes G wagon, and I decide, you know what, I'm going to do what anyone else generally does. I'm going to get out of my car and approach this Karen. And so, which of course, I mean, in a way, I was being a Karen or a Chad. I don't know what we'd call it for a male. Chad. I think we call them Chads, right? So I was being a
Chad,
Chad.
yeah, Chadwick.
Yeah. So I get out of my car, and mind you, I leave my kid in the back seat. Like because I just see red, and I get it.
Mm.
What and I honked at her. She didn't respond. I get out of my car and I basically run over to her car, and her window's cracked open. I was like, "Hey, you know," and she basically said, "Leave me alone." We called each other a bunch of shit back and forth. Then she put up
Yeah.
her window, and I started walking back to my car. And then I looked back at her daddy's G wagon. This girl was like 18. And I looked
Hmm.
back, and I was just like I wanted to destroy her Jeep. So I ripped off the windshield wiper blade and in a fit of rage, and then I threw it down, and then I got in my car and drove off because I didn't want coffee anymore, not behind her.
Yeah.
Well, guess
Yeah.
what? The cops called me like 3 hours later and asked
Mm.
me if I was the one who did that, and I said yeah, and they said okay. They're like, you know, if you hear from us, you hear from us. If you don't, you don't. And I was like, okay, whatever that means.
Oh,
And
she's a
yeah,
snitch.
I know,
Fuck
right,
that
dude. And
snitch.
then exactly, dude. And then
Snitches get stitches.
exactly. And anyway, dude, and which she never appeared in court, by the way. But I ended up getting called into court, and I felt like they were making an example of me because I got, you know, I got a lawyer because it was I was getting hit with a misdemeanor for damage of property and all this crap. I don't know. But anyways, I paid for the lawyer, got it reduced to like disturbing the peace. But I got slapped with 26 hours of court order anger management, which, a long story short, that is where I found comedy, because there was another guy in the class who told me like, oh man, you should go do comedy, because
Yeah.
that's a great outlet. And my wife had told me, which was funny, about 2 weeks before I met this guy in the class. My wife told me, she goes, babe, she goes, you really need therapy with all your anger issues. She goes, or have you ever considered doing stand up, because they're always working their shit out on stage.
Yeah.
And so after hearing my wife say that, and then after meeting a guy in the anger management class telling me to do comedy, it
Yeah.
just made sense for me to really kind of dive into that whole world. And
The stars were aligning
yeah,
right there.
exactly. And you know what? Here's the thing. My wife, we've been together 19 years. She's my best friend. We
Mhm.
make each other laugh. Everyone asks what's the secret. The secret is make each other laugh and using unicorn masks in the bedroom. Maybe, I don't know. Some role playing. Hey,
Hey,
but
Chris, I need a soundboard, bro.
you
I'm
do.
doing all my soundboard. Oh man, my studio, I got the lowest budget in the world, man.
It's okay, man. It's okay. Up and coming, bro. You get
Yeah,
that later.
right.
And then
I
we
need more sponsorship.
and then we do a session, and we'll just call it, sound effects, bro, and we just laugh the whole
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
right. Oh man.
So
Yeah,
that's
and
how
then
I got into it, bro. I mean,
yeah,
that's the long story of it. And it's funny because I'm sponsored by the anger management company for my show. Like, it's just it's kind of serendipitous that it all worked out that way.
yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, I believe you put that in your stand up too, right?
Yep,
That
I talk
whole.
about it. Yep.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I was saying, like I don't have like the storybook beginning of as far as comedy. I'm the same way. Um, like I got started because like I was going through some stuff, transitioning into I don't even know what you call it, but I've told the story before on the podcast
Hmm.
and to other comedians, but yeah, we ended up we were renting a house um like a couple of years back, and then we end up getting well, basically the lady ended up selling the house, so it was like, oh my god, like now where are we gonna go? We got to find a place. And fair warning, she gave us some time to figure things out. But you I mean, I'm sure this, like that whole moving process, like moving in, moving out,
Sucks
that
balls.
it sucks balls, bro. Like,
Yep.
man, a lot of shit to do. But anyway, like, yeah. And then like my mom's health was kind of starting to decline and stuff. And I also DJ. And then like I was kind of like I'm still active in a way. And I mean, I don't do as much as gigs anymore,
Hmm.
but I was kind of almost like in a standstill. And then I kind of just was watching some stuff online. I discovered Kill Tony, and then that kind of pushed me and motivated me to do
Did
comedy.
you go on Kill Tony?
No, I wish, man. But the thing with him, he travels, so he's been up here in this part of
Where are
the.
you? New York or Jersey? Aren't you? Aren't you in the East?
No, no, no. Stockton. I'm in
Oh,
California,
that's
bro.
right. That's right. You're
Hmm.
North
Yeah, yeah,
NorCal. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's he just moved his whole show, right?
he moved it.
The whole entire show. He followed Joe Rogan. They're out in Texas now.
Texas?
Yep. Yeah,
What?
starting January. They actually moved out there. I think they started recording out there in December. My buddy was on the show in December, and my buddy
Hmm.
um, Henry Garcia, he was on the very last show in
Hmm.
California, and he told me, like, he's like, hey, it isn't public information yet, but I was on the last episode, and their next episode, which is actually going to broadcast in January, is in Texas, because they're moving the whole show. And then like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I saw the announcement that it got moved. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Man, everyone's moving out of California.
Yeah, yeah, but you know what? It's like Joe Rogan. I mean, I get it. Like he's all like, "Oh, comedy in California's dead." You know what? No, you know what's dead is his ability to deal with California politics, maybe California
Hmm.
tax scenario for him because
Yeah.
I mean, the dude's a huge multimillionaire. He got what, $110 million contract with Sirius XM,
Spot.
or was
Oh,
it
was it
Spot?
serious?
Was it
Spotify?
Spotify?
I was thinking Spotify.
Whoever,
Yeah.
it doesn't
He
matter.
moved.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't care. I'm not getting a paycheck. But the point is, he took
Yeah.
this huge paycheck, and you know what? If I got $110 million contract, I'd be like, wait, I'm gonna sign this. Let me go to Texas first, because in Texas there's no income tax, there's no state income tax, right? So there's all these like huge benefits to businesses in Texas,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when you're of that type of net worth, it behooves you to move in that direction. He's still going to come here to California all the time and do comedy as soon as the clubs open up. You know that, guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because comedy is here.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, comedy is here. Comedy's San Francisco. Comedy's New York. Comedy's Chicago. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And there's big comedy scenes in every large major city
Market. Yeah. Hmm.
in the U.S. And Texas has 5 big cities. But he made like this whole statement like California's, or comedy in California is dead. Like that's not true. That's not true.
Yeah. Yeah. He saw the dollar signs in his
Exactly.
eyes.
And Kill Tony's on his way up in that direction too. So it makes sense too for him to go that way. And he probably got some kind of great contract to go that way.
Right, right. Hey, yeah, hey, it is what it is. Hopefully, there'll be the next wave of Joe Rogan's and or Kill Tony's
I
in the
think there is,
future.
dude. I
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
I mean, what's your thoughts on coronavirus? I look, a lot of people. I saw so many comedians, and maybe you can, maybe you agree, but I've seen so many comedians disappear. Right, they just
Hmm.
completely fell off the map. Friends that were just up and coming comedians, and then big time comedians who just kind of disappeared. Like they stopped doing. Of course, the comedy clubs are closed, so they can't go there. But when shit hits the fan, you either adapt and evolve and survive, or
Yes,
you die and get
yes,
left in the dust, dude. You know what I mean?
yes.
Um, and I just saw personally, I saw all of this opportunity. One of my biggest goals, Elvin, for
Hmm.
2020 was my biggest goal for me was I wanted to be on stage in front of a live audience, a paying audience,
Hmm.
every single week for the entire year, which for me was a big goal, which was a minimum of 52 shows for the year. And COVID screwed that up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm not talking about mics. I mean, mics are a dime a dozen. Like that didn't matter to me. But being in front of a paying audience, so I could really like hone my skill for the year, like that got shat on by COVID. But we got our lockdown here in California. I believe it was like March 14th or March 16th last year. My first stream for my first show was March 27th. That's how
Hmm.
quickly I was like, nope, I'm not getting held back by this shit. I'm still going to move forward and host stuff. And so that's what I
Hmm.
did, dude. I put together a show. The first show was a shit show. I hosted 9 comedians. It looked the screen was like a grid. It looked like the Brady Bunch on meth.
Yeah,
And in the first 45 minutes, it was like a gnarly echo because I was having huge tech difficulties on my end because I was so new at it. But you
yeah.
know what? Like some people would have did that and went, "Fuck, that was so hard," or and they would quit. And I said, "No way, dude! I'm gonna keep going." And I had a lot of issues along the way, but the show just kept developing and getting better and better. And now I have people saying, "Dude, I watch your show every week. The show's
Yeah.
awesome." Or hey, I watch it every week. I can't watch it live, but I replay it on Saturdays because that's when I have time.
Hmm.
I love it. It makes me laugh. And I've had so many comedians hit me up who want to be on the show. And so to me, that creates opportunity for me to network with other
Right.
comedians because I'm sure you agree, like this business is all about contact, networking, knowing other comedians and knowing comedy bookers, people who run clubs, run shows. I mean, all that's
Hmm.
important. And if I did nothing and just kind of
Sat
said, yes,
around.
sat around, I would
Yeah.
have lost all that time and would have had to start over once the clubs open back up. And they're still not even open back up. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
so yeah,
yeah, yeah. You know what? I had Nico Lukov, who runs the
love Nico.
Displaced Comedians Facebook group,
Yep, love him.
and I had him on, and he said, you know what? It's a perfect time right now. As far as virtual comedy, take advantage of it. Like, um, it because you never know. I mean, you hit everything. You hit the nail on the head on all fronts. Connections, networking. You never know who's watching.
Yep.
Recently, I just got onto the Dat Fans live comedy show.
Yeah,
So
I'm wondering. I'd like to get on one of his shows. I see his stuff all the time.
yeah, I actually accidentally he posted something on one of the group. It might have been Displaced, and then it was like a pop up mic or something he was
Mhm.
doing, and I texted the number, thinking that I might not hear anything, and then boom, he got back to me. He said, "You know what? Do this audition on Tuesday." Boom, did the audition. Afterwards, he brought back 10 comedians after the show, and I
Nice,
was one of them. And I was
nice,
like, "Oh
dude.
shit! Like what the?" And you know what, bro? I actually was a little bit nervous for some reason, and it's fucking that fan. I mean, like he's one of the big comedians.
Yeah,
Out in
he's
L.A.
a pretty big
Uh,
working comedian for sure. Yeah,
yeah, he won the last comic standing.
yeah, he's on
You
TV a
know,
lot. Yep,
yeah. So I don't know, I was like, oh shit, like So I after that I've done like a couple online shows with him. So hopefully I get to do it again and stuff. But
it's awesome.
to the point where uh, uh you know to the point that you were making a couple of minutes ago. Yeah, like with the whole Corona thing, I get it. I get that because I initially I was in the same boat. Like what is Zoom comedy? What is virtual comedy? What's going on here? Like for a couple months, I didn't get into it till
What do you think?
midsummer.
What do you think's the biggest difference? What have you seen that's the biggest difference between doing a Zoom show versus being on stage? Like, what do you think? I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Uh, um, you know what? For me personally, because even between the shutdowns, the first and second one, I was able to do a few shows and several open mics.
Yep,
So and I still wanted to go do something live.
yep,
There's nothing like it. I mean, I think everyone would agree with that. But with the whole Zoom comedy thing, for me personally, I'm like, okay. Once I hit the ground running, once I figured out everything, I was like, you know what? I get to work on my material
yep,
versus if I was to sit around do nothing. Because that's what I was hearing. Like a lot of my friends that I know, like, oh man, I haven't worked on anything for a few months. Check that out, few months. That's a lot of time right there. Like
yep,
that's kind of like wasted, almost. And then the other thing I take away as well is the networking aspect. I met you on there. We connected. I went onto your show. We kind of built this rapport. I've met other comedians, not only from this area, from places like New York, uh, Canada, Seattle, Chicago, virtually. But
yep,
if you really break it down, let's say when things do open back up in the future, let's say if you have a show in Seattle, I can hit up so and so. It's like, hey, there's a show here. I'm booked for this club, da da da, or I'm in the area. Where are the mics? And then you guys can link up, and so and so can take you around town or whatever, you hang out, and or in Chicago or wherever.
yeah,
So that's kind of what I take away from it.
yeah. Yeah, and all valid points for sure, dude. Like I keep track of all the comedians I've had on my show or all the comedians who want to be on my show. I have everything in like an Excel spreadsheet, right? And one of the big things
Mm-hmm.
is what you just said, like, if you're in Seattle, I have it marked that you're in Seattle. So if I go to Seattle, I can now group all these comedians on my list based
Yeah.
on like what city they're in and go, oh
Mm-hmm.
shit, I got 6 comedians here all in Seattle. Let me hit them all up because I'm gonna be
Yeah.
in Seattle in 2 weeks and see if they're still active, if there's any mics they can tell me about, or if they have any comedy shows coming up or
Yeah.
comedy bookers that they know that I should hit up and let them know,
Exactly.
because they've been on my show and they can vouch for me. I'm gonna say validate me. They can vouch for me and say, yo, this guy's good. He's got a good track record and stuff. He should put him on one of your shows. And that's the point. For me too. Like I was gonna say, like just the differences. Like I've done a lot of compare and contrast, and
Oh,
for
okay.
me,
Yeah.
like a Zoom show, okay, because a Zoom show is nothing like a live show. They're completely opposite. And I think so many comedians, because I got into it right away back in March, right? That was,
Mm-hmm.
I started my show and I started jumping in people's shows. Whoever were doing mics, I started doing them. And it was a huge learning curve for everyone because we're so used to being on a stage with a mic in our hand, with a crowd at our feet, who are paying, who are drinking, who are eating, who want to be entertained. Then you do a Zoom show. You have looky loos from like Facebook jumping in who don't go to comedy clubs at all, but they're like, oh, well, it's my buddy. I'll check it out and see what it is. They turn it on. They have no idea what they're watching. Comedians are failing because they're doing their jokes. They're doing their setup with a long pause and then a punchline with a long pause expecting laughter, and it's like, dude, like there's not an audience, like you can't hear the people in the background. You can't, with Zoom cuts out, based on latency and all that. Zoom cuts out like 60% of the sound, like it minimizes it and pushes it back, so now you can't even hear people laugh if they are laughing. And so now
Yeah.
you're getting all in your head about people not laughing at your jokes, and you're being like, oh well, shit, well, maybe I won't do that joke anymore, and then you're getting pissy. Like
Yeah.
the biggest thing I noticed, and I've had many discussions with other comedians about this,
Mm-hmm.
is Zoom comedy, virtual comedy, whether you do it on Zoom or you do it on one of these other streaming platforms, or if you just do it on Instagram Live or Facebook Live or TikTok or whatever, you are interfacing with people as though it was like a FaceTime conversation on your phone,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I'm having a conversation with you, Elvin, on my phone, we're FaceTiming. I'm going to talk to you like we are now. We're
Yeah.
bros. So if I
Yeah.
want to sit here and crack a joke about my kids, I'll be like, bro, dude, like, dude, Elvin, do you have kids?
No.
No, you don't have, dude. You should try to get some, man. The
Yeah.
best part is making them, bro. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, bro. Like the best part is, having the kids is okay, but making them
Yeah.
is
Making them.
awesome.
Hell yeah.
And Elvin, let me tell you, bro. Like kids are a lot like cell phones. Do you have a cell phone, Elvin?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, you have a cell phone. Look, dude, they're expensive as hell. They follow you everywhere, right? They
Yeah.
know everything. Only difference is I would never throw my cell phone out of a moving car, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So that's just an example of one of my jokes I do. When you do that joke on stage, it's different. You pause, you wait, you connect with people, you make eye to eye contact with those people in the front that you can see, and you try to find that person who's really
I
into
like
your
I like how
joke.
you said eye to eye contact right there.
Exactly, dude.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Right. So you have to engage people that way. But when you're on a Zoom show, it's different because now you can't make eye to eye contact with everyone per se. And even if you could, it's a different interface because I'm in this little square box on your computer screen or on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see my hands the same way. You don't see me moving left and right. Body language is completely different. And it has to be more of a conversation. If I tell
Yeah.
you a joke on the phone or tell you a joke on a Zoom call, it has to be like we're having a conversation like this.
Right.
It
Right.
can't be the whole setup and punchline with the disconnect. With the stage, it's different. If you connect with one person in the front and they start laughing is contagious.
Yeah. Yeah.
People will start laughing and kind of go along with it. And then they'll start getting sucked into your world because
Yeah.
other people validate it, agree with it, and they'll all of a sudden start coming along on that journey. That's different in a Zoom. You can't do that in a Zoom. A
Hmm.
Zoom has to be conversational style comedy. It
Yeah.
has to be a conversation. It can't be let me just throw setups and punchlines at you, for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And
People
and
just
and
go ahead.
yeah. No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, you'll lose people very quickly. They get bored very quickly. You want to pause for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you'll lose people immediately. It's the internet, baby.
Yeah.
Everything's fast on the internet.
Yeah.
It has
And
to be.
to add to that point, that's why I say, for me personally, to work on your material during these times, and when you're doing your set on virtual comment, or yeah, Zoom, whatever, and like, um it's about finding your voice, because yeah, it's gonna hit different versus live and virtual, and vice versa. It's definitely gonna hit different. It's a unique platform. Everyone's adjusting to it,
Yep.
adapting to it, and I think that's that's what we have to do. We have to adapt. We have to take our head out of our ass, and like, hey, this is what it is right now. It's not the greatest thing on earth or in the world, but it is what it is. And until something opens up, or unless you go
But
to one of these.
it's funny you say that. You said until something opens up.
Yeah.
Guess what? Virtual comedy is not going anywhere. It is
Yeah.
here to stay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go back. Let's go back maybe 18 years ago, 20 years, even say 20 years ago with MTV and reality TV. Reality TV came in and shook the TV and film industry.
Hmm.
It did. It rocked its boat. The unions even in the business were like, this is bullshit. It's here for a moment. It's not going to last. No one watches that shit.
Yeah.
That was the uh, the mindset of the masses when reality TV struck.
Hmm.
Well, guess what? Reality TV's around forever. I mean, you got the Kardashians, the richest family, probably in the one of the richest families in the entertainment business, all made their millions from reality TV. Reality TV is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Virtual comedy is the new reality TV. It's not going anywhere. Here's the thing, dude.
That's a
I've
great point. Yeah.
I'm in LA. I'm local here in LA, and I've before this all happened. I've done comedy shows all throughout the greater Los Angeles area, but I've never done shows outside of LA because I just started doing it a few years ago, and I'm local. But since virtual comedy, I've done shows all over the U.S. I've done shows in the UK. I did a show in South Africa. Like I can say I'm international, baby. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Virtual comedy. You can reach so many more people. Yes, it's not a comedy club with 300 seats. It's not
Hmm.
a comedy show at a theater with 1,000 seats. But virtual comedy, if it's built the right way and you build that community, you can easily have 1,000 viewers.
Yeah.
You got shows online right now. I think Steve Hofstetter, he has a show, the antisocial social cult, whatever the hell it's called. I'm not here to plug a
Hmm.
show, but they got anywhere between 100 and 300 viewers. And they stream live Monday through Friday, and it's a funny show.
Yeah.
And they started in the wake of COVID. So
Yeah.
there's those opportunities have been created, and we've created these amazing opportunities for comedians to thrive and shine virtually. And so many comedians are putting their back towards it and saying it's not going to last. Fuck
Yeah.
that. I'm not going to do that. I'll just wait till the comedy clubs open up. Well, guess
Right.
what? When the comedy clubs open up, and I have 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and or I have, right now I have, 19,000 followers on TikTok, and I start growing that, when I come knocking on the Laugh Factory or the Improv, and I got this big following, and I say, hey, I have this huge following. I'm a comedian. I've been working my ass off. I produce this show, and I host this show, and I do all this. They'll be like, yeah, let's check you out, dude. And they're more willing to give me an opportunity versus someone who sat on their ass, sat on their couch, and didn't do
Yeah.
shit for a
Yeah.
year, 2 years, or however long this shit's gonna take. So
Right.
I mean, there's just so many opportunities, bro. And look, you're doing it right now. You were like, you know what? I'm going to jump into the deep water and I'm going to start my own podcast. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so far from the talks I've had with you, you seem like you're passionate about it, and that's wonderful. You
Yeah.
know, I think
No.
there's over. I read a thing actually a few days ago. There's over a million podcasts on Apple Store, the Apple iTunes, or whatever,
Hmm.
and only 250,000 have posted in the last 90 days. Like 90, that's the last 3 months. Only a quarter. That means 75% of them all failed or flopped or whatever.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, but that's because people are just, I think a lot of people are naturally lazy. It's easy just to take the easy path.
Yeah.
Um, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's easier to criticize than it is to create. It just
Yeah.
is. And so, as far as your podcast, I commend you. Like, keep doing it and just keep doing the grind, dude. And it's all
Yeah.
about you just having fun and really loving what you do and loving to entertain people. And if
Yeah.
you only entertain three people a week, you entertain those three people a week, dude, and
Right.
happily do it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
some people are like, are all about like, oh, well, I gotta have 1,000 subscribers. I've had so many, dude. I was on a and I can talk a lot, Elvin. So jump in anytime. Tell me
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
stop.
No. No worries.
I was on a show. My buddy, I'm not gonna throw his name out there and throw him under the bus, but he was producing this show for YouTube. He was gonna stream it, and I was on it, and he was doing this whole pedicab and down in Venice Beach. It was an amazing idea. I loved it. He had several guys helping him with all these cameras. We had sound. They had all this shit. Really good production quality, in my opinion. And then he was like, "Oh, we're gonna launch on this date," and then, "Oh, we're gonna launch on this date because we're trying to fix this and this and this." And I'm like, "Dude, just put your shit online, bro. Like, just put it online. Like, don't if you try to be a perfectionist and keep trying to make it perfect and make it perfect and oh, I
Hmm.
want to wait and make it perfect, you're going to end up waiting so long, and then when you post it, you're going to get like 8 people who watch it on
Yeah.
YouTube,
Yeah.
and you're going to be so disappointed. And then you're going to throw your hands in the air and say, "Why did I just spend 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, whatever you might be spending on your shit?" And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, like, the biggest people who are making the most money started with the least amount of shit when they
Yeah.
first started, but they
Yeah.
started and they continued.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's that. We have so many opportunities right now, bro, and it's sad to see so many people just like throwing in the towel and saying fuck it. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And that's kind of a mindset, a mentality, I guess, kind of thing. Like going back to you mentioned like my podcast and everything. Um like when COVID hit, man, like I started doing my podcast. What was it? 2019, October
Hmm.
2019, and then when 2020 came around, like around March, we had the shutdown. Boom. I had to stop it, and then I had some other issues happen as well. And then because I was doing my podcast in the studio with a buddy of mine that was helping me, who's also a comedian, and he was kind of like my producer, I guess, quote unquote. He was helping me with the editing, the mixing it down and stuff, and I didn't want to deal with all that stuff, so I'll have him, I'll shoot him some money to do all that stuff. That's fine. That wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
And then boom, yeah, the COVID thing hit, and I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do now? And then I didn't get into Zoom until like July, and I really like doing the podcast. Like I was thinking of ways, like what am I? How am I gonna do it? Like there's, I can't go to the studio because they're not gonna let me in, and my producer's not gonna go because he's worried about the coronavirus. So it's just like fucking pulling teeth. But and then I stumbled upon the Anchor app, and I was like, hell, it's free. It's not the greatest thing on earth, but it allowed me to start my podcast again. It allowed me
Hmm.
to reconnect with people and bring people on the podcast, and now I'm up to like uh, this episode will be I think number 26, somewhere
Nice,
around
dude.
there, and so I picked it back up, and I'm loving it, and then obviously doing the Zoom, so I'm doing the things that I love to do, again, like
Yeah.
and so and yeah, it's crazy. I'm really having fun, and that's the main thing. Like, having fun with it. You know, and just, yeah, just enjoy it, and and see where it takes you, pretty much.
Exactly, dude. You know, that's my biggest thing. I know, like, um I personally have dealt with like validation issues, like the mindset of trying to get the validation. I've gone down that rabbit
Mm-hmm.
hole of why aren't people watching my stuff? Why aren't
Yeah.
people liking my stuff? Why this? Why that? Why are only the pretty people getting stuff and they don't do shit?
Yeah.
But seriously, dude, if
Yeah.
you really start diving down that dark hole of
It's pretty
negative,
dark.
it's dark and it's negative, dude. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Then it really fucks with your creative side, and it's like,
Mm.
dude, like and me personally, it's like, why do I've tried, like, I don't have a therapist and I really need therapy badly, but like I've thought about that, like, why do I seek validation? And the only thing I can think of is, like, me personally, like, I had a great childhood. I love my childhood, but my biological father dished my mom before I was even born.
Mm. Yeah.
And I found out later in life, and so finding out later in my my late years of adolescence, I basically was like, well, wait, why did he leave? Like, I didn't, like,
Yeah.
I started playing that game,
Questioning it. Yeah. Yeah.
questioning it, and then it was questioning my father's authority, who basically did a poor man's process adoption of me when I was two, and that's a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, we're the same body build, we're the same height, we both have curly hair, we both wore glasses. Like, we were just, like, we, you know what I mean? And then to find out, like, wait, you're not my dad. Like, it was, dude, it was weird. It was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
wait, did my mom try to go physically find a guy who looked like my other dad so that I wouldn't know when I got
Yeah.
old? Like it was like all this shit that went through my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that really affected me, like, validation wise. Like, it's always played the game of, will they like me? Will they not like this? What can I do? Like, I love making people laugh. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing better to me, like an emotional feeling, than making people laugh. Like, it makes me feel good. Like,
Yeah.
I love that feeling.
And I
And
think we kind of go all we kind of go through that as individuals, or adults. Like, yeah, the specifically with your situation, I it kind of, it does make sense, because the trauma of yeah, finding out your dad wasn't your dad, and your biological dad left, and yeah, you started to, question it.
so,
And
I mean, yeah, I mean, dude, for me, like that, for me, I know, like, I'm pretty sure that's where a lot of that is
y-
rooted, the whole, like,
yeah,
validation
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
But you can't start a YouTube channel or an Instagram or a TikTok and be like, why are these people going viral? Why am I not doing it? Like, why? Like, you can't do it. And I do. I sometimes I do. I'll look and be like, hey, I posted a video this morning. Has anyone, like, watched it? Like,
yeah,
I'll do that. But I kind of look at it as I'm trying to be aware of the analytics of my channel,
yeah,
and I'm trying to pay attention. Okay, these videos, because I have videos that have been seen a lot, and I have videos that haven't been seen a lot, and then
hmm,
so I go, why? Like,
yeah,
why was one seen more than the other? How can I replicate that? Is it more entertaining? Like, the stuff I've been doing this year, I've been trying to be, which is really difficult. I'm trying to be more of me on camera, which is just ridiculous. Like, I
hmm,
tend to be really ridiculous in person. I like just making my kids laugh and just being silly. I like dancing out in public. I like just doing stupid crap.
yeah,
And I'm trying to do that on camera and trying to bring that across and just be myself. And that's challenging. That is
yeah,
really challenging. So I have to, like, let go of that validation stuff. And I have people who watch the stuff I post and they watch my show every week, and I'm happy with that, dude. Like,
yeah,
I'm happy that, I on my show, we get anywhere between 45 and 250 views a week on the show.
yeah,
And we're I'm happy if 10 people watch the show and then they say, "Hey, dude, that was awesome."
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. It's all about like I made that show so I could entertain people. That's
Yeah.
really what I did.
Yeah.
And I'm entertaining people. So I'm happy with that. If YouTube wants to go, hey, this is a pretty good. Let's push it out to more people. That's on them. I can't. That's beyond my control. You getting your podcast seen by more people. I mean, you can do whatever you can to market it on Instagram or Facebook and stuff. But beyond that, you cannot control whatever algorithm they have this month. You know what I mean?
yeah, and you know what? You brought up the word algorithm and analytics. And I think about that as well, but I think because I talked to a comedian buddy of mine, and he's really into he has his own channel. He developed his
Mhm.
own following and stuff, and I always ask him like, man, how did you get so many followers? And so he's really nerdy about that thing. Like he's been doing YouTube since in high school, like 13, 14 years old. So he built that.
Yep.
He's a gamer. And the other thing he brought up to me because like I said, how do you get so many followers or viewers? And I don't dive into like I don't get too nerdy or techie with all the numbers stuff like that. That's just gonna drive me crazy. But he told me that is there's I guess a technique or you can you have to what is that, the tags, you got to build the tags a certain way, and there's
Yep.
a way to do the tags or the thumbnail, and I'm like,
Yep.
what? I'm like,
Yeah. It's a lot of work, dude.
yeah. So and that makes sense. I mean, as far as to develop your brand, your channel, and that's cool. And like, but for me, like, I I want to build that up, but I'm not too, I guess, hung up on the numbers game. Like, I mean, like, because when it comes down to it, I think you got to try to be, you got to promote yourself as the way how you want to promote yourself. Just do you, be funny in what you do, or you know um do certain shows or what's available out there, and do what you can, and obviously there's more people that's inclined as far as that kind of thing, and it's all about you know adapting, and then if you're into that kind of thing, and yeah, you look into it, research it, and hope either you have a great following or fan base, or subscribers, or things like that. Like, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, man, it's like, yeah. I mean, like, um oh shit, I was what the heck I was gonna say, but anyway, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of shit that goes into it when you do.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, like I think if you, I think the secret sauce to eventually building your following is really focus. Like if you're in comedy, just focus on writing the funniest shit you can and saying the funniest stuff you can. You
Yeah,
do that, and I think eventually people will come.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like build. The whole thing from Field of Dreams. Build it, and they'll come.
yeah. No,
Build it, and they'll come.
that's
It's like with us, we're comedians, so build your routine, build your jokes. You know what I mean? Focus on that, and they'll come. My YouTube show, like I'm not trying to be a comedian on that. I'm trying to host and get better at hosting. I crack jokes here and there within what's said, within what the comedians say. You know what I mean, within the show. But I don't try to do my material on my show because that's not what my show is about.
yeah, yeah,
But as far as like writing, I write every week. I have a writing session every Tuesday. That my friends and I, like, we religiously do, and we're always writing, like always write, always work on your material, and always try to develop new jokes.
yeah,
There
yeah,
was a comedian I saw the other day, and I don't know his name, but he was talking about one thing you can do with your jokes is like hit your joke from various perspectives, And how many? Another question to ask about your jokes is how many angles can you hit that joke from? So
Yeah.
I started thinking about it. I was like, well, wait, what do you mean different perspectives? So okay, if I tell my joke, I already said the joke about kids being a lot like cell phones. Well, maybe I can compare them to something else, or instead of tossing my kid out of my cell phone out of a moving car, which is basically saying that I would in turn throw my kid out of a moving car.
Yeah.
Maybe I change that up, or maybe it's told from the perspective of I'm in prison now. I was thinking
Yeah.
about I had to think really long and hard about this, after 5 years in the pen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And so it's just like, how many ways can I hit that joke, and how many different
Yeah.
angles?
You know,
And I don't think we do that enough.
yeah. You know what? Going back to the whole Kill Tony thing. He had Anthony Jeselnik on one
Yep.
time, and he was talking about writing jokes and stuff like that. And I always I remember him saying it, and it kind of stuck with me for a while. Like, if you have a punchline, come up with two or three other punchlines after that, or tags or whatever, and versus just having one.
Yeah.
Just in case, maybe you can use this one or that one, and and kind of pick one that you like, but have more than one punchline, kind of
Yep.
thing. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
it's very true, and I'm honestly I'm guilty of not doing that. Like I think a lot of us we write a joke and then we're like, oh, that's funny, and then we leave it at that and we start playing with it on stage versus going, okay, that's funny. How can I wait? What else can make this even funnier? Like, or what kind of tags can I add to this? What
yeah.
if I said, and here's another thing: audiences change. I mean, one thing, one big part of our job is to study the audience.
Yeah.
You have to look at that crowd and go, wait, are they all in their early 20s who don't want to have kids? Or are they in their 30s, who just had babies? Or
Hmm.
are they in their 40s and 50s who have kids or maybe even grandkids? So
Definitely.
how are my jokes about throwing a kid out of a moving car going to resonate
Yeah.
with this crowd?
Definitely.
Or one of my mentors, he told me, he goes, look, he goes, you need to know how to respond to the crowd. He goes, if you want to start your joke up with, hey, does anyone here have kids? And then no one says anything, and you're in a room with 50 to 100 people, that means you got probably a lot of people who are young
Yeah.
and not very receptive to kids. So talk to them about it and be like, well, shit, I have kids. And so they're going to kind of perk up and be like, oh shit, he's going to tell us why we shouldn't have kids. We don't have kids and we don't want to have kids. And he's about to tell us, and he's going to reaffirm how we already feel
Yeah.
versus having a room be like, yeah, and they all start clapping when you have kids and be like, yeah, wasn't the best part the part where you got to make them? You know what I mean? And start talking to them about that.
Yeah.
Like, because then it's funny. It's like, well, yeah, of course, like having sex is really one of the best joys about having kids. Like you got to make them that way. But you know what I mean? It's like have a different way to
Yeah.
respond to
Yeah.
them.
Definitely.
And that's just leading into your
Right.
premise. And then on the back end of the joke, doing exactly what you said. Have three or four different ways to say it because you don't know how you want to say it
Yeah.
until you get there.
Because going back to what I mentioned earlier, like for me, as far as doing Zoom, like, yeah, I get to work on my material, and I this is what ends up happening. I have my joke, I have my premise, and I've done this a couple times with some of my bits. I ended up changing it a couple times. It could be a word I can switch around, or put this part earlier in the bit, or change the ending of it. Like,
Right.
I get to work on my material, like yeah, my I get to work on my bit. Like, I can it's in a working progress, so to speak. Like, I'm not, you know it's not cemented yet, basically, is what the point. That, okay, this bit, like, I've done it several times, and it's okay, da da da, but let me change it up. Maybe it'll get more of a reaction next time. And so
Let me
yeah,
ask you, is it ever really cemented?
yeah, right, right.
I mean, I guess if you're doing your special, that kind of locks it
Yeah, yeah,
in
that.
a way.
But you know what? You do because I have some jokes that I'm like pretty comfortable with, and then like my early stuff, I guess. Even though I'm still early in the game, but like
Yeah,
okay, I'm comfortable with it. I think that this one's solid. Like it seems to you know create some reaction all the time every time I do it. But you have those jokes that it's like your safety blanket, so to speak. Like, okay, this one will do well here, or this crowd or whatever. But yeah, you can always definitely work on like the your bits.
yeah.
It's endless. Yeah.
And that's why I love it, dude. It's like non-ending creativity, bro.
Hmm.
If you're in the creative mindset, stand-up comedy. I mean, it's just it's endless.
Yep. Um. Yeah. I mean, to kind of like close out that point, like it's yeah, it's like I said, it's like I have a joke like few jokes that I've been working on, and I've been switching it up like from time to time. Like I'll change it up and then see what works basically. So
Right.
yeah. But yeah, man. Let's talk about your show before we wrap it up and stuff. Uh, Kidder's Comedy Corner. And I think you mentioned it before. You started that whole thing uh, in the beginning of the pandemic, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. So we did 33 episodes last year,
yeah. And
and now we're in season
there
two.
you go. So what gave you the idea to put something like that together?
That's a great question, dude. I honestly like again to what I said earlier. The whole reason why I created it was because my goal for 2020 was to be in front of an audience every single week of the year.
Mhm,
And though this was not a live audience in person, it was a live audience on streaming.
mhm,
Do you know what I'm saying? So it was like there was no room for error, like as far as I can't go back and edit it later. It's in the
it's
now.
stamped
And let me
in.
let it's yeah, exactly. And so I wanted to create it. And here's the thing too with the pandemic, like I was just, I'm not some visionary or anything, but I was just trying to have a little foresight of how people were going to be. And two things came to mind. People are going to be stuck at home and depressed. They can't go out to comedy clubs, depressed because they don't have the comedy that they had in their life before. So this could be an outlet for them either as a comedian or as a viewer to go and watch and find their humor
Mhm,
in a live type of format. And the other thing was it it was from the creator standpoint for me it was just it I felt like a lot of people were going to jump into the virtual world like I did, and they were going to start creating mics. And here's the thing, like in LA, there's so many open mics. Every night of the week, you can find open mics, pay $5, $10, whatever. You can find mics everywhere. Everyone's trying to run mics, 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 mics. And I'm like, okay, people are going to do the same thing. And they're going to realize in the virtual world, it's free. Like you can do a Zoom show for free as long as you keep it to an hour. I paid for the service because my shows run over an hour and I don't want to be limited to the amount of viewers and stuff. So I upgraded, whatever. But I knew like, okay, there's literally no barrier to entry. So I bet you anything, people are going to start mics left and right, and there's going to be an oversaturation of
mhm.
mics. What do I want? Do I want to be a mic for comics to come and practice their shit? Absolutely not. Because as a viewer, I would not want to watch that. Because as a fan of comedy, I would not want to go to an open mic and watch comedians. because they're all doing stupid shit. They're all saying stupid shit. Half the shit isn't funny. The work like the open mic is a space. It's basically a gym
Yeah,
for comedians. It's for them to work out.
that's what
Like
we
people
do.
don't give a shit. Like people don't give a shit to see. Well, I mean, I guess we do want to see a hot chick work out at the gym, or you know, I don't. I don't think most people want to see people work out at the gym, but we like looking at them when they're out and about, when they're out looking their
Yeah.
best at the club or out, you know, wherever. I mean, they look great, and it's because they put in the work to look great. Same thing for us. Like we got to put in the
Mm,
work. Well, we do our work at mics. And I was like, you know what? A lot of people are going to create virtual mics because there's literally no barrier to entry. And I knew that. I just had the feeling that was going to happen. And I think you can attest that there's so many mics. I can probably hit 10 a day for
oh
free,
yeah,
no problem, no questions asked. No one's going to be like, who are you? They're going to be like, yep, come on in,
yeah.
come on in. And it's and sadly, sometimes there's one or two people who are there, you know, painfully watching because these mics are ridiculous. They're not funny, and they're not supposed to be funny.
Hmm.
It's for you to
Yep.
practice your shit so that you can now go do that fan show or come on my show or come on to a show that's meant to entertain
Hmm.
people.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted. That's how I decided. I wanted to create a show that would actually entertain people. How can I create a show that, okay, if COVID ends, what's the future of my show? Well, I plan on continuing that show, but I would like to eventually get picked up by Netflix or something and do it in front of a live
Yeah.
audience. My show would be great if I'm sitting on a couch with you and two other comedians and we're around a round table shooting the shit, doing our stuff, doing our trivia, interacting with the audience, kind of like Kill
Mm.
Tony, having that interaction with the audience, doing trivia, doing games. You know what I mean? And then obviously the comedians get to do a set in front of the audience
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean? Who want to be a part of it and want to laugh and want to be entertained. That's how I see my show. So I put it together in that way. Did it come across that way the very first episode? Absolutely not. Did it the second one? No. It
It evolved.
evolved
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And that's
And I love it, dude. And that's how that show came about. Kidder's Comedy Corner.
there you go. There you go, man. It's a lot of fun.
Live every Thursday. Yeah, and you know what, dude? And the show has grown a lot, dude. And you know, I picked up two sponsors this season,
Ooh, look
and
at
you
you.
know, the winner of the show walks away with $500. Like it's you know, there's money and prizes on the line. Like it's fun and it's growing
Oh
into that way.
man.
And the trivia is awesome. If you guys love pop culture trivia and you've listened this far into this awesome podcast, then come check
Check
it out,
it
dude. Like
out.
it's
Every
you know,
Thursday, 7 p.m. Man, that's
absolutely.
what's up, man. I'm glad to hear that it's evolving and progressing, Chris. That's awesome, man. Man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, brother.
But yeah, man. Like so I guess like checking out the oh to your point as far as like okay everyone's doing mics Zoom mics online virtually and that is true there's a lot of them out there. What I've been noticing now I I've been seeing some stuff where like I was like whoa this is I mean to be honest bro like not trying to toot your horn but I was like, man, this sounds like a Chris's show, like the same concept, same idea. Like, what's going on here?
Hmm.
And then there's obviously people are making tweaks. A lot of people are doing like and kind of switching it up, changing it up, and you're starting to see a lot of the
Yep.
storytelling stuff with the Zoom mics. You're starting to see
Yep.
um, like I don't know if you've been on Tara Wheatner, Christian Wheatner's Russian roulette. Though,
No, I know of it. I think my buddy Dan Green was on that
yeah,
show like 2 months
yeah.
ago or something like that. Yeah, I know of
I
the
don't know
show.
if she started that first or not, but that's been popping up. A lot of people are doing the hi.
That's on. I believe that's on like Sunday nights or something like that.
um
Yeah, it's like a
uh, uh
it's like a story.
the
Like
the story.
they
Oh
spin the
yeah, yeah.
wheel,
It's
right?
Saturday. I think Saturday
Yeah.
and Sunday. I think yeah, because I
Okay,
was on
Saturday and
there as
Sunday.
well. I tried it out a couple times,
Nice.
and but
How'd you do?
the first one horrible as fuck. But I yeah, man, it was horrible. But it's interesting because it takes you out of the norm. Your usual five
Yeah,
to 7 minute set. You get a topic and you think of something on the fly, spontaneous kind of thing.
you have to just say
Yeah,
a story. Yeah,
riff it, and it's challenging. I mean, in a good way. Like it kind of challenges your brain a little bit. Kind of, you know, ex you're doing an exercise, so to speak.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, dude.
but yeah, Chris. I think we'll wrap it up in a minute here, a minute or two. But before we do, I have these three questions I usually ask my guests. It actually is the when I started this segment here, like it was just one question, but I developed two other questions eventually down the line. But I think these are three interesting questions. And I have a fascination of in terms of these questions. So like I said, three questions. Um, it's your choice, no pressure. As well, you can answer one, you can answer all of it, or you could say, fuck you, Elvin. I don't want anyone to answer that. I
Yeah,
need my Starbucks right now after this. Like, yeah.
you can't have my social security number, bro.
No, no, no. So okay, I'm gonna run it down, and then you can give me your answers afterward. So question one: aliens or Bigfoot? Question two: if you weren't doing comedy, what else would you be doing? And finally, last but not least, question three: what is your go-to food?
Ooh, nice. Let's see. Aliens or Bigfoot? Aliens, bro.
Yeah,
Aliens. The world, the universe, the whole space, everything is just way
T-
too big. We're way too
yeah,
small for there not to be
yeah,
something out
yeah.
there.
Hands
Hands
down.
down. Um, let's see. What would I be doing if I wasn't doing comedy? I'd like to say midget
I,
porn.
I was just gonna say I was thinking stripper, but hey, it's near the neighborhood.
Yeah,
There you
midget
go.
porn.
I like that.
Because I look big next to them.
Hey,
Hey,
soundboard thing again.
can I say that here? And then uh, what'd you say?
Yeah. What
Food?
is your go-to food? Like, since we're in this whole pandemic thing, the idea of it was like, hey, for 2 months or a month, couple weeks, whatever. If you had to survive on something, what would it be? What is your go-to food?
Dude, my go-to food, if I could have it every day, I would, is sushi. Like it's hands down like my favorite. But during the pandemic, it's more realistically, it's been like hot dogs, mac and
Oh,
cheese, and beans.
there you go. There you go. Hot dog, mac and cheese. And maybe he can find
Yeah.
sushi along the way. This whole zombie apocalypse.
Hey, it's my birthday this week, so I told my wife I
No
want
shit,
sushi for
mine
my
too,
birthday, dude.
bro. What day is it?
Oh yeah, mine's the
Mine's the
14th. Aren't
15th.
you the 12th? You're the 15th. I don't know why I said you're the 12th. I don't. That's just a
Yeah,
random number. Like
yeah.
today, like it's the 12th.
Oh shit.
Dude, that's awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Capricorns.
Capricorn, baby. Duh.
It's my favorite thing to say when I used to go clubbing a lot. I actually met my wife 19 years in a
Yeah,
nightclub. But women would ask me like, "What's your sign?" And my favorite thing to do was just give them the finger and walk away. As soon as they said, "What's your sign?" I knew they were a stupid bitch who just wanted
yeah,
money. Like get the fuck away from me. Like I hate that fucking
yeah,
shit, dude.
yeah.
Oh, like I can feel my blood boiling right now
Uh oh,
thinking
watch
about
out!
it.
Incredible Hulk's gonna come out.
I know. Watch out.
Anger
Anger management
management
round
round two.
two.
Yeah. Oh man, it's been a pleasure you having to come on the show, Chris. I appreciate my brother. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate you,
man.
man.
Keep doing your thing. Check out his uh Kidder's Comedy Corner, and I love that last name. I mean, that is classic right there. Um, but yeah, where can they find you, follow you, and all that stuff?
Yeah, brother. Instagram is it's easy to hit me up on there. You can look up Chris Kidder if you want, but there's a million of us. You can find me at such.a.kidder. So it's such a kidder. I think if you just look up such a kidder,
Yeah,
it pops up. And then on YouTube, it's just you can look me up, Chris Kidder. It's youtube.com/Chris Kidder. We're live every Thursday. I drop new content every week. Mostly, it's about the comedy journey. I'm still fairly new in this world, and my goal is to really bring the comedy world to everyone. But like people just see our stand up, and that's all they see. They don't see what's happening in the green room. They don't see what's happening with comics. Off to the side, what kind of shit we go through. So I try to drop all types of content, but really focusing on a comic's journey. But yeah, those are the two easiest places to
There you
find me.
go. There you go. And besides the Starbucks location, but yeah, you can find them there, man. Check them out. Support the homie. Uh, and as far as my stuff, where's my damn podcast? Be sure to share, like, subscribe, review it, whatever. Talk shit about it. But hey, man, it's all that matters. It's that you are listening and you're having a good time. Because that's what I'm trying to do. Spread some goodness into the universe, and hopefully, you can, you know, hopefully you like it. So, but
I
yeah,
think they
yeah.
will.
So, yep. Until next time, until the next episode of Where's My Damn Podcast. Peace. Thank you, yo. Yep.
Peace.